Mykel, Gayent, I just want to touch base with you with your lived experience. What would you have to say with the cultural appropriateness of mental health care or not?
When I first started looking for a therapist, actually I didn't look for a therapist. It was, a therapist was thrust upon me when I went in for inpatient care for substance abuse. Like I said, the therapy was thrust upon me, but once I got out of inpatient care, I still needed to find my own therapist, and I didn't know about looking up anybody in any directory, not even 211 Sacramento, and what I would find would be that individuals, usually white, that would mostly talk down to me. I wouldn't just come out and and lay it all on the line. I'd actually try to figure out if they're with me, if they're going to be honest with me. Like I said, based on their certain comments, certain body language, I was never trusting of them, and it took me a while to get what I was after. And it was also hard for me to tell the people, like in the VA, I'm looking for a black doctor, I'm looking for a black therapist. I'm proud of being black, but when it came to that, I just didn't think that anyone was going to truly understand. But I kept searching until I found them myself.
Wow. We've alluded to this final question for our discussion. More so than ever, with everything we're dealing with now, with shelter-in-place orders, and we're being encouraged not to connect, and we're huddling at home. You didn't use that word huddling, Mykel, Gayent, but I see that 49ers behind you, so that energy come to me. But we're being encouraged to all huddle at home and not kind of reach out for resources. So the final question I want to ask, the group for discussion is, where can men of color come together to discuss mental health? I mean, obviously, Brother Be Well is one of those new platforms, but where can men of color come to talk about mental health? And most importantly for me tonight is, are those resources available digitally? Can people still connect and get what they need in a digital world?
Well, that's a huge issue. I think that physically, legally, we can't gather together and admit anything like that. But via Zoom and these other social media platforms, men are coming together, whether it be with fraternities, different churches, and even I would say even some of the hospitals, because I know, like with Kaiser, it's funny because I've been getting these different calls, and they just call you and just spring up and say, hey, we're having a conference call right now. We're giving it towards African-American men and whatever the subject is at that particular moment, and join our discussion right now. And so you're in those kinds of, I guess, rooms virtually or via conference. And at the same time now, too, I think with social media being what it is, there's a plethora of chat rooms or groups, whatever they call them these days, that are available to participate in. But I think you still have to find them and seek them out.
Other thoughts?
Yeah, to that question.
Yeah.
To that question, my pops, he turned 60 last month. Not technologically savvy by any means, but because of the isolation, it's a real issue. So we had a Zoom happy birthday cocktail hour, and it went extremely well. Now we had to help him set it up. Right, he had to have people, bring him up to speed, but it went very well. So I think that, we are very flexible and ingenuitive and resourceful and resilient, all those positive attributes. And this is one of those things, right? They've taken the barbershop away from us, right? So where else can we find that? And I think for this time being, Zoom and digital platforms are here to stay. We can do our part, right? Or to bring along the next guy and bring along our brothers with us to get up to speed.
And are there thoughts about, you made your audio went out on my end just a little bit, Carter, but are there thoughts about the digital divide? We know that people of color are less likely to have a high-speed internet connection in their home. Black children in many communities are less likely to have access to the devices that they need to dial in, and families are less likely. So are there thoughts about how we may be able to bridge that digital divide or continue to do it? We're making progress, but continue to do it so that families and men who need to reach out to those digital platforms can do it.
Off the top of my head, I'm thinking about all these Chromebooks that got sent home with these kids for staying at home. So the schools are now giving out something, right? It has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But like I alluded to, I think my sound went out. We have to bring each other up to speed. We have to teach each other. I think that we are our best ally at all times, and so that we have to build the bridge that divide ourselves.
That's a great way. It's hard for me to believe that we're almost out of time, but that's a great way to wrap up. We've got to be resources for each other, and we'll continue to do that through platforms like Brother Be Well. I want to thank everybody for participating, especially Carter. You mentioned, I hope you don't mind my sharing, but you're on vacation today and decided to check in with us. So, man, I appreciate that. Carter Todd, president of the Capital City Black Nurses Association. We've got Dr. Mykel Houston. Thank you, sir. One of our clinical advisors for Brother Be Well. And then my brother, Mykel Gayent, who is also a contributing writer and a peer specialist for Brother Be Well. If you've heard anything or any part of this conversation might have been of interest to you and you'd like to find out a little bit more about Mental Health California, I want to encourage you to go to the website, mentalhealthca.org. You can subscribe to our magazine there, and you can check out progress on Brother Be Well. So I want to thank you for taking some time and listening in on this conversation. My name is Mykel P. Coleman, and until we see you again, I want you to take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Thanks.